All right, and then there were four. March Madness down to the final four teams. Take a gander. Look at this. Duke, North Carolina will be meeting for the first time ever. You may have heard this over the weekend in the NCAA tournament. I am absolutely looking forward to that. Unfortunately, North Carolina ending the Cinderella run of St. Peter's, and then Villanova and Houston is saying who can score the least amount of points and still win. That was something else, wasn't it? Let's go. Collin Sherwin, what's up, dude? Good to have you here. You are still out in Vegas kind of doing your thing. How you feeling? Biggest takeaway this past weekend was what?
That the right teams are probably in this Final Four.
Yeah.
North Carolina is certainly the hottest team. I think Kansas is the best team. I think Duke has somehow found a little bit of magic here down the stretch. And I think this is going to be a great Final Four. Boys, look at those ticket prices. I don't know if you guys have seen, but the ticket prices are about double what they normally are for a Final Four. So, yeah, a lot of people, there's a lot of interest in this. I think some of that is Coach K versus UNC. But, and Villanova just does what Villanova does. And it is incredible to see that team just continue to grind it out every single day with a bunch of guys that are well into their mid-30s and have played about 500, 600 games of college basketball at this point.
I mean, listen, I was a little fatigued most of Sunday just laying there on the couch, and I made sure to wake up, and because I wasn't quite sure if I was going to see history here with this year's Cinderella with St. Peter's. And, you know, that was a great story. It's unfortunate that it's over, but where do you kind of rank them in terms of Cinderellas that we've seen in the past?
So they're going to finish top 25 in the country in defense this year, adjusted for their schedule. So they could really guard people. I give them full credit for that. But what they can't do is score. And I think that they just sort of drew a few matchups that really sort of favored them. And quite frankly, Purdue choked. So for them to get to the Elite Eight, full credit to that team and to Shaheen Holloway, who is already off to, I believe we said this on Friday, that he might be the head coach at Seton Hall by Monday. He was the head coach at Seton Hall by Sunday night. So tremendous job by St. Peter's. The money that comes in from this should really help them build their program. They're going to get 4 NCAA tournament units instead of 1 for the next 6 years, and that's a big deal. But they weren't that great a team. I think of the Cinderellas that I've seen in my lifetime, I think that Dunk City team from Florida Gulf Coast back in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They were amazing because they were a legitimately good basketball team. They were fun to watch. They could score with anybody, and they were a lot of fun. Defense, not nearly as good as this St. Peter's team, but I think that was probably the best Cinderella that we've seen in recent years. But full credit to St. Peter's. And hopefully this is something that they can build on even with a new coach to get their program heading in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. So that was yesterday, but let's go back to Saturday here because Villanova kind of grinds out that win. So they're going to be headed to New Orleans. I think the total in that one was around like 128. They went well below that against Houston. So was this just like a really poor shooting night, Collin, or is that the way Villanova likes to play and something we should be aware of here in the Final Four, because they also will be without one of their best players?
Yeah, Justin Moore tore his Achilles very late in the game, and that is just a huge blow for Villanova. I really think it affects their ability to possibly go through and get by Kansas. That is their second leading scorer and a guy with a ton of big game experience who's just not going to be able to play. So that's tough. But that is exactly how Villanova wants to play basketball, especially against a team like Houston that does not score a lot themselves. They just sort of want to grind things in the dirt, bounce the ball out at the top of the key, make a move with like 7 or 8 on the shot clock and sort of get a decent look. And then a lot of times they're not going to get a ton of offensive rebounds either. So the other thing they do is they force a lot of one shots. They do a really nice job on the defensive glass, forcing you only to getting one look. And so that's just kind of how Jay Wright's been playing basketball at Villanova for 15 years now, give or take, somewhere around there. They've won 2 national championships under them. They've gone to another Final Four. It works. It's not always beautiful. It's not always fun to watch, but man, is it effective. So yeah, I really like some unders this weekend. I think that Kansas team will try and speed them up, especially without Moore on the floor though.
Yeah. And, we're getting closer here to like a Coach K, like fairy tale ending. It's just a couple wins away, which would be kind of incredible considering like the way the regular season ended. So they'll be able to get some payback against UNC. But in terms of that game against Arkansas, like, What the heck happened to the Razorbacks in that one?
I think they just ran out of gas. You know, when Arkansas can't shoot, the problem with being a team who can't shoot is if you can't shoot and you're trailing, you start shooting threes and you're not very good at it, and then you just keep forcing, and it layers on top of itself over and over and over. And so I think that's kind of what happened here with Arkansas. A tremendous defensive team that gave great effort all year. They were one of the teams that, quite honestly, I did make a few bucks on more than any. About TCU and Arkansas were the teams I think I made the most money on this season. They just ran out of gas at the end, and that's okay. What Eric Musselman has built, it seems pretty sustainable. He's got a system and a program in there. I think Arkansas is going to be fine in the long run. Just not enough ability to score. You know, they're not getting the level of talent yet, and it's going to take some time for them to get some elite talent that can defend and run the system that they run, which is such high pressure, but also be able to put the ball in the hole. But a tremendous season, and I am high on Arkansas going forward. I think they're going to be an SEC champion here within the next 2-3 years for sure.
All right, how high are you on Kansas's potential here? Like, was that more of a Miami collapse, or what? Or are we seeing what Kansas can do here the rest of the way? Like, which version shows up?
I think Kansas can do the rest of the way. I think they're really well coached. This is not the most talented Kansas team, but I think they're really well coached and they play well together. The other thing that Miami who had been tremendous offensively, but they're really good from 2-point range. They started taking a lot of threes, and they felt like they had to because they got a little bit behind. Kansas went on a mini run. Miami starts taking some shots, and all of a sudden I looked up, and in the second half they were like 0 of 11 from three at one point, and I'm like, they're done. I mean, you got to make shots. This is college basketball, and the wheel of random is very, very high. So the margin between victory and defeat sometimes is just whether a couple of shots rim out or not. For Miami, they miss some. Kansas makes some. Miami starts to press a little bit. When they start to press, they don't have the ability to really force, and they were taking some forced shots as well. They were really trying to force some threes. It's not their game. They got a little bit out of sync. You can give some credit to Kansas for that. But Miami just did not have enough to go forward, and they're going to lose a lot of those guys on that team. So Jim Larrañaga is going to probably have to rebuild completely, and build a whole new roster for next season.
I know. I saw like a clip about his pregame speech, kind of like fired the guys up, had that great first half. It's like, man, he should have just done the same thing at halftime because, man, they looked awful in the second half there, dude. Collin, I want to get you out of here I want to get you out of here with some odds here in the DK Sportsbook for most outstanding player right now. Whose odds really catch your eye? Which ones do you really like? Which ones are worth betting?
So I could not see those this morning. So do we have the thing where I can like see the screen where you can like screen over and see who the odds are?
We'll punch it up for you.
For some reason
right
they
now.
weren't.
Can you see it?
I can. Hold on. I think I can. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So Ajabi at plus 500, I think, is my guy. Banchero is probably going to, if Duke wins, Banchero's got to play great. He's I think he's leaning towards being the number one overall pick now over Jabari Smith and Chet Holmgren. But I think for them to be great, he's probably going to be there. But I like Ajabi because I think Kansas is going to win this thing. So
any long shots here? Any long shots on the board that you like?
Chalk shot? Oh, down the board? Who do I like? Oh, Brady Manick could really do some things. Brady Manick shoots some threes for North Carolina. I think they can get by Duke. So I think that's very possible. And then if you have Brady Manick at plus 2,000 in the national championship game, I really like your chances. So that's a good one as well. He can fill it up from three. And if he gets hot, then for certainly he can be the guy.